Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. My sister got cancer, and her biggest wish before dying was to marry my boyfriend. My parents, desperate to fulfill their daughter's wish, begged me to break up with him. Even my usually gentle brother slapped me and said, "He's just a man. Is he more important than Anne's life?" When everyone was against me and I felt utterly defeated, my boyfriend showed up. Without a word, he beat up my brother and yelled at my sister, pointing at her nose. Who's being morally manipulative here? Break up? Did anyone ask for my opinion? We've been together for 3 years. I brought Louis home to meet my folks. "Louis, we know you're a good man. We trust you with Wendy," my mom said warmly. "We should start planning the wedding. Once your parents are back in the country, we can discuss details." Louis chuckled softly. "We're thinking this fall. Wendy is wonderful, and I want to marry her soon." I blushed, focusing on my food. "Mom, Dad, I might not make it to Wendy's wedding," my always quiet sister suddenly said, her voice painfully hoarse. She pulled a hospital report out of her bag. "I didn't want to tell you, but I don't know what to do. I'm so young and haven't been able to care for our parents," she choked out. My heart sank. Mom raised my sister, and she was always the favorite. Since she came to live with us, she and I never got along. She's always been jealous of me. Sure enough, my mom was startled by her tear-filled eyes. "My dear child, why say such negative things? What's got you crying?" Dad took the report, hands trembling as he read. "Stomach cancer? What nonsense." Mom grabbed the paper and scrutinized it. "And how could this happen?" Under the table, Louis held my hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. "Mom, Dad, calm down first," my brother Vincent said, trying to remain composed. "And we get health checkups every year. How did you suddenly get diagnosed with stomach cancer? What's going on?" And covered her face, tears spilling through her fingers. "I don't know. My stomach hurt like hell recently, so I went to the hospital. Late-stage stomach cancer, the doctor said." She sobbed. The atmosphere grew heavy. "What did they say? Can it be treated?" Mom asked urgently. "The doctor said I might have only 6 months left," and said and rushed to her room, unable to handle the truth. Mom hurried after her. "Don't do anything foolish." Dad followed right behind her. Vincent removed his glasses, massaging his temples. "Wendy, Louis, I'll take you home," he offered. "No need, Vincent. I drove." "You should tend to family matters," Louis said, holding my hand. "Leaving just like this, will it be okay?" I wondered. "Feel sorry for her?" Louis asked, glancing over. The car was dark, his features looking more defined and serious. I shook my head. It's strange how someone can just fall ill so suddenly. Feels unsettling. If not for Anne's announcement, we were supposed to finalize our wedding date tonight. But what could have been a loving moment turned into a devastating revelation. Louis ruffled my hair. "Silly girl, don't worry. I'm here. Weren't she your ex-girlfriend?" I teased, not even a bit of feeling left. Our families were close, so they had a brief relationship orchestrated by our parents. As we spoke, we drove into a luxury neighborhood. Louis parked and leaned over to unbuckle my seatbelt. He had a sharp profile. His gaze softened as it met mine. "Your good looks are a magnet for trouble," I complained quietly. He pinched my cheek. "I'm only yours, no matter how handsome. I mean, calling her my ex is a stretch. We weren't even really dating," he clarified. I mumbled and opened my arms toward him. "Carry me out." He chuckled, cradling me firmly. I met Louis after high school when Anne asked me to join a graduation trip, swearing she would stop bullying me and wanted to apologize. But once at a remote spot, she stole my phone and disappeared. Lost and broke, I nearly got kidnapped, but Louis showed up and rescued me, lending me money to get home. It wasn't until I graduated college that we met again, and I spent 3 months winning him over. 3 years have zoomed by since. Turns out he's good-looking but very committed. That night, after Louis slept, my phone buzzed. I sneaked into the living room. "Mom, why call so late?" On the other end, Mom was crying. "Wendy, you saw tonight. Your sister has stomach cancer, and it's terminal." I interrupted coldly. "So what? What am I supposed to give up this time? Is it my favorite doll from childhood or my dream university recommendation she stole in high school?" Your sister's wish is to marry Louis, she continued. Mom! My voice escalated. Fingers dug into my palm as I tried to stay calm. Louis is my boyfriend. He's proposed to me. Mom has no choice. Anne's dying. Isn't a man's life worth less than 20 years of sisterhood? Really? Sisterhood? I scoffed. Isn't that a joke? In middle school, Anne made boys bully me. In high school, she took my scholarship spot and even altered my college application. Ask her if she ever thought of our sisterhood. Yes, she has cancer. You're all worried about her, but it's not my fault. Who's worried about me? Years of pent-up grievances suddenly erupted. Perhaps guilty, my mom was speechless. After a while, she choked up and apologized to me. I'm sorry. Wendy. Over the years, your dad and I may have neglected you, but your sister was innocent. She was just a kid. What did she know? I took a deep breath and said, Mom, I'll say it again. Louis is my boyfriend. I'm not letting this happen. What's mine is mine. From today on, I won't give in to any more. With that, I hung up the phone. The summer night's breeze was cool, and as I reached up, I felt my face damp with tears. I was wide awake. My mom had a difficult delivery with me and almost lost her life. Dad was superstitious and thought I was bad luck, that I endangered Mom's life. When I was barely a month old, he sent me to live with my grandma in the countryside. I only came back to my so-called home when Grandma got sick and passed away. My parents, like they woke up from a dream, started to make it up to me. They got me into the best middle school in the city. The same class as Anne, and Wendy just arrived here and isn't familiar with things. You have to take good care of her, okay? The girl in the pretty costume dress cheerfully took my hand, smiling sweetly. Don't worry, Mom. I'm the big sister. I'll protect my little sister. I stared at their clasped hands, unsure of what to feel, and gave an awkward smile. My sister was outgoing, my brother was gentle, and although my parents were unfamiliar, they were attentive to me. In general, the new home felt warm, but it didn't last long. Soon after I transferred, the whole class almost in unison started to isolate me. Look at her clothes. They're so out of fashion. She's so dumb. How did she get into our school exactly? She's been here a week, always with her head down studying. What is she trying to prove? During breaks, a group of girls would loudly discuss this, not caring about my presence. Then someone asked, And is she really your sister? You're smart and pretty, but how come you have a sister like that? I glanced at the red jacket Grandma made for me and said nothing, frowning slightly. Wendy is my real sister. She was just raised in the countryside. Don't talk like that anymore. Those words touched my heart and felt warm whenever I was gossiped about later, and would stand up and defend me, but somehow my situation in class didn't improve. It got worse. One day after school, a boy and I stayed to clean the classroom. He accidentally spilled water all over me and locked me in the empty room. The next day, when I went to confront him, I accidentally saw him buttering up Anne. I did what you said. She must have been freezing last night. And, not at all like the image I had of her, rested her chin on her hand, her large eyes cold and distant. I'll make her understand, she said. This place isn't easy to get into. Mom and Dad's love and brother's care are meant just for me. A warm body wrapped around me from behind, a man gently wiping away my tears. I quickly wiped my face. It's nothing, just some old memories. The day Louis confessed his feelings, I told him everything about my past and my family situation. The big guy was teary-eyed halfway through and hugged me tightly, his hands trembling. Wendy, I wish we'd met earlier. Be with me. I won't let you suffer anymore, just like now. His strong arms wrapped around me warmly, reassuring me it's all in the past. I won't let anyone bully you anymore. I turned and hugged him, burying my face in his chest, mumbling a yes. Louis touched my head. Let me guess, didn't stir up trouble again using her cancer as an excuse? You guessed right. I raised my head, eyes still red. I knew she wouldn't stay quiet. Did she call you? What did she say? I shook my head. It wasn't her. It's just a small issue. Don't worry. That's not okay. Louis pinched my cheek. You're like a little bunny. How could you fight her? Let your husband take care of it. I forced a smile. It's my family matter after all. I'll try to handle it first. I promise if I hit a wall, I'll call you. Deal. Louis was the oldest son in his family and recently took over a big chunk of the company. He's been busy day and night. I didn't want to bother him unless necessary. Plus, I didn't want the person I loved to witness my broken family. All right then. Louis frowned slightly, looking reluctant. Just remember, if things get tough, don't act tough. Call me if you need help. The next day at work, during a meeting, my mom messaged me. Wendy, your sister wants me to apologize for her. Let bygones be bygones. Come home tonight and talk to her. She's being stubborn and won't go to the hospital for treatment. I replied, not my problem. Then I turned off my phone. What happened in my final year of high school opened my eyes about this family. So, I majored in fashion design at college. I started a studio with my classmates and created my brand. Our family business is in real estate, placing us in the middle to lower ranks of wealthy families. I have no interest in the family business and just want to avoid fighting with Anne. When I'm busy, I lose track of time. At lunch, I saw several missed calls from my mom. They annoyed me, so I blocked her number. 2 months later, the largest national fashion design competition was scheduled to take place in our city. I was busy sketching and finalizing designs, leaving no energy for my bizarre family. I didn't expect them to come looking for me when I didn't go home. My mom, dad, brother, and Anne were all waiting at the villa's entrance. I stopped the car. Mom, Dad, what are you doing here? My mom was about to speak when Anne interrupted. Wendy, you blocked Mom's number and you didn't answer my calls. By the way you talk, one would think you're not happy to see us. She wore a white dress, her wavy hair cascading softly over her shoulders. She looked frail, as if she lost sleep, but I felt nothing. If you're here to make me give up my fiancé, you're definitely not welcome. I prepared to roll up the window, but Anne stopped me. Wendy, don't be so distant. We're still family no matter what. She spoke softly, just like when I first moved in, and she took my hand. I chuckled coldly. And even after all this time, you are still pretending. Her face froze and I got out of the car, folding my arms as I faced them. If you have something to say it here. I won't invite you in. Wendy, how are you talking to us? No manners at all? Did you waste all those etiquette classes as a kid? Dad, I cut him off with a smile. You must be mistaken. I didn't come back until middle school, and those etiquette classes were extracurricular ones you signed me up for. He was visibly stunned. Is that your excuse for disrespecting your elders? He turned to my mom. It's just like I said, she's bad luck, and you didn't believe me. I bet and got cancer because of her. I stared coldly at him. What are you glaring for? Am I wrong? We never should have brought you back. We spoiled you all these years and now you dare to talk back. My mom pulled him aside. You need to say less. Vincent stepped in. Dad, you're going too far. Wendy, your dad doesn't mean it that way. Don't take it to heart. My mom held my hand warmly. No matter how busy you are with work, you still have to eat. The housekeeper made your favorite dishes. Come back with Mom, okay? I didn't move, but despite being scolded, those caring words got to me. My mom noticed and continued. You're my flesh and blood too. How could I not care? Then she paused and asked, what about what I talked to you about last night? Figures, I laughed coldly inside. What was I expecting? I pulled my hand away and turned to leave. Suddenly, my mom pulled me down, falling to her knees. Wendy, I'm begging you. The doctor said your sister's illness is incurable. Just think of it as fulfilling her last wish. Please, I'm on my knees. Shocked, I helped her up. Mom, what are you doing? Stand up and talk. The others were also taken aback. My dad was the first to react. What's the idea of kneeling to her? Does she even deserve it? My mom burst into tears and grew up before my eyes. How can I bear it? I'd rather die for her. Wendy, just fulfill her wish, please. Vincent sighed. Yeah, Wendy, it's just a guy. Can he be more important than Anne's life? He rushed over, crying. Mom, don't do this. Begging her is worse than dying for me. I give up on marrying Louis. It's all my fault. Watching this mother and daughter scene, I nearly gagged. I stepped back, shook off my mom's hand and grabbed Anne's collar, slapping her hard twice. You're the one who brought them here, and now you're playing the victim. Pathetic. I've tolerated you long enough, Anne. One slap is for isolating and bullying me. The other is for stealing my spot at the university and messing with my college entrance choices. And stumbled and fell hard, her pale face showing clear handprints and her arms sporting a noticeable red cut from rocks. But given my strength, it shouldn't have been such a hard fall. She cried pitifully. Dear sister, I'm sorry for what I did before. But what's the point in holding this against someone who's almost dead? After saying that, she started coughing violently, spitting blood. My dad was furious, his eyes red. And are you okay? The only one who hadn't criticized me yet was Vincent. My dear brother slapped me hard. Wendy apologized to Anne. Apologize? Did Anne ever apologize for all the harm she caused me? Holding my face, I was shaking with anger. It was just yesterday they were laughing, discussing my wedding casually. I was disgusted as their fake facade crumbled. Suddenly, I noticed a tall figure behind me. He threw a punch at Vincent's face with force. A group bullying my wife? Have you no shame? His voice was icy, sending tears down my face. Louis, weren't you working late? His sharp features were intimidating, and his anger sent chills down everyone's spine. Susan called me about unexpected visitors at home. I checked the security footage before rushing over. Still late, I sometimes forget to eat when I'm busy, and Susan is the cook Louis hired for my meals. He pulled me into a hug and squeezed my hand. Don't cry. I've got your back. He turned, shielding me, and stared coldly at the family. So what's the deal? Am I supposed to call off our engagement, Marianne? Is that what you want? My mom got up awkwardly. Louis, hear me out. Our families are merging anyway, so marrying either one should be fine. Louis smirked. Then why bother, Wendy? What's your problem? My mom fumbled, unable to answer. What's wrong? Scared? Louis asked, his eyes narrowing. Or is it because you know I won't agree? So you try to force her? My dad coughed lightly. Think about it. You know Anne's situation, she's terminal. Just consider it a favor for your uncle. I've made up my mind. No way. Louis laughed ironically. Funny. When did my marriage become anyone else's business? Is Anne's cancer Wendy's fault? Why should she pay the price? My parents stayed silent, looking displeased. Anne was still on the ground, clueless. Louis, don't be mad. It's all my fault, she said. Yeah, it is your fault. Louis cut her off loudly. If it wasn't for your antics, this wouldn't have happened. Who are you to morally guilt-trip us into breaking up? My dad widened his eyes. Louis, why are you being so harsh? Only I knew, no matter the elite education, Louis had a roguish side and was fiercely protective. He slowly got up, looking fragile. Louis, you know I really love you and don't have much time left. Louis remained unmoved. Everyone was shocked by his reaction. I hid behind him, giving a thumbs up. Vincent helped and wiped the blood off her mouth, looking disheveled. Dad, Mom, let's go. Wait. Louis stopped him with a glare. Vincent, this is a heads up. Next time you lay a hand on my wife, I won't hold back. And one more thing. Wendy is the only woman I'll ever call my wife. Like a vow, Louis entwined our fingers, each word powerful and definitive. Wendy clenched her fists angrily out of everyone's sight, her lashes down, hiding her eyes full of spite. This talk of an arranged marriage, everyone knows it's just my family trying to help out. Louis's family is into the internet business and is doing really well these years. They shouldn't have to sacrifice their son to marry into our declining family. If it weren't for Wendy, I wouldn't even give you a glance. Now that it's all out in the open, my dad's face turned red. His mouth opened, but he said nothing. Back home, Louis was applying medicine to my injuries. I regret letting that kid go. I should have punched him hard, I said, looking at the clear handprint on my face. Louis frowned. Is that even your brother hitting you so hard? No worries. I smoothed out the furrow on his brow. I didn't lose out. I slept in twice too, she deserved it. Louis was indignant. After he finished with the medicine, Louis buried his head in my lap, sulking like a big clingy dog. I asked, what happened last night? Why didn't you tell me? You know how terrified I was today. Sorry, he said, poking his cheek. First, I didn't want to bother you, and second, I felt a bit ashamed. Louis didn't get it. Seeing your chaotic family behaving disgracefully makes me embarrassed, even ashamed. I hesitated. I decided to be honest. Louis lifted his head to look at me. Silly, your birth is not something you chose. I think my wife is strong and amazing for not compromising all the time. You're living actively, pursuing your career. To me, you're like a shining star, wonderful in every way. He hugged me, his voice deep and soothing, filled with endless reassurance. Plus, I'm your husband. I should accept everything about you, right? Don't be afraid to bother me. It's what a husband should do. It felt like a piece of candy melted in my heart, spreading sweetness throughout me. I cupped his face and gave him a big kiss. Nicely said. Here's a reward for you. Louis's eyes sparkled. Kiss me more. I can keep talking. I pushed him away. You're right. I am a career-driven woman. Now I need to get back to drafting. Louis looked resentfully cheerful. Later, Louis talked to my dad again, saying that as long as I could get married to them without trouble, they'd offer my parents' company a 20% share as part of the dowry. But if there were more shenanigans, my parents would be permanently removed from Louis's family's cooperation list. Louis is smart. He quickly figured out my dad's profit-driven nature as a businessman and used it as leverage. Louis asked if I needed him to do something more, like teach my sister a lesson. I shook my head. With what you said to my dad, she can't do much anymore. I slapped her twice. She's got her comeuppance. She has cancer now. I'm too busy to hold a grudge against her. Louis pulled me onto his lap, chuckling lightly in my ear. You're just too soft-hearted. But I think she won't give up. But we're not afraid. If it happens again, your husband will handle her. A couple of weeks later, Louis took me to his college reunion. Facing her provocative gaze, I couldn't help but sigh. Who knew Louis's casual mention of next time would come so soon? After we sat down, Louis introduced me to everyone. Bruce said we could bring someone, and since my wife just got off work, I brought her to crash the party. His words made everyone laugh, livening up the atmosphere. I whispered, reminding him, I'm still just your fiancé. Louis held my hand tightly in his. I don't care. I'm staking my claim. From the corner of my eye, I could see Anne looking at me, gritting her teeth. The classmates occasionally made good-natured jokes. Louis is young, successful, and married to such a beautiful woman. He's at the top of his game. When's the wedding? Don't forget to send us invitations. Louis smiled and responded to each one. Then an untimely voice chimed in. Wasn't Louis's girlfriend in back then? I thought they were definitely going to get married. The air froze visibly. I saw Anne's awkward expression peripherally and pinched Louis. Really just a blind date, huh? Louis squeezed my hand back and verified with the speaker, who said she was my girlfriend. We barely survived a blind date. That's it. Louis's expression was serious like never before, making the person look awkward. Sorry, I didn't mean to say anything. But back in school we all thought you two were a thing like marriage material, you know? Louis furrowed his brows and glanced around. Who spread such ridiculous rumors? An awkward silence followed, and I noticed Anne tapping her fingers on the table, a sign of her being guilty. While everyone else kept their silent understanding, Bruce sensed the tension and lightened up the mood quickly. It's been so long, and Louis, with your thriving business, this meal's on you. I tugged Louis's shirt. It's all in the past. Can you get me some of those ribs, please? The ferocity in his eyes softened instantly. He smiled. Sure thing. I'll cover tonight's bill. Let's enjoy ourselves. I originally planned to treat Anne as transparent like she was heir, but she had other plans. Halfway through the meal, she teasingly said to Louis, you're too pampering. Missing out on a great guy is my loss. That comment didn't sit well with me, but Anne remained poised, her tone filled with polite admiration. Bruce joked back at her, Louis is taken now. If you regret it, it's too late. Louis merely smirked at Anne. Bruce has a point and added, always serving others, don't forget to eat yourself. She said as she picked up a piece of fish. Sounding quite familiar, I remember you like fish. This place doesn't do it too bad. Everyone else froze, their expressions turning a bit subtle. Louis had already covered the dish of food in front of him the moment she stood up. I prefer my wife's cooking. Now that is something, he said, turning Anne's public offer down, leaving her looking slightly awkward. She laughed it off. Silly me, Louis's girlfriend is here. What was I thinking? Anne's little drama finally ended. When did I learn to cook? I whispered into Louis's ear. At home it was always Susan who cooked. Louis would occasionally whip up some homemade dishes if he wasn't working late. Me? I could barely make instant noodles. Louis chuckled softly. You don't need to know. I'll cook for you. As the party was winding down, Louis went to the front desk to settle the bill and helped Bruce organize everyone to leave. Most people had already left, but Bruce was struggling with a very drunk Anne. Maybe you guys can take her. I've got another appointment soon, he suggested. Louis, visibly impatient, said just get her a ride. I gave it a thought and stopped him, smiling at Bruce. You've got things to do, so go ahead. We'll take care of her. Louis, help me get her in our car, I said, smiling at his perplexed look. She's my sister and she's really sick. I can't let her go home alone this late. She can stay at our place tonight. In the car, I glanced over at Anne in the back seat and casually complained to Louis. We really need to replace the desktop in the spare room. It was so slow when I was drawing last night. I'm just glad I saved it in time. No way. Louis looked at me confused. We just bought that computer this year. I pouted. Well, it was acting up. You know how important this design competition is for me. If anything goes wrong, all our team's effort would be wasted. I couldn't resist my silly demands. All right, I'll order 2 new ones tonight. One to use and the other just as backup. At a stoplight, Louise glanced back. Are you sure we should bring her home? I smiled slightly. Consider it taking in a stray. I'm just too soft-hearted. Fine, Louise agreed reluctantly. But she leaves first thing in the morning. The next morning, and left early without any prompting from us. When Louise heard her leaving, he got up to confirm she was really gone, then came back to wake me up. Don't you think Anne was acting weird last night? Still groggy, I opened my eyes. What do you mean? The booze. She's supposed to have stomach cancer, but she was wasted and showed no signs of being sick. I suddenly felt more awake. You mean her cancer is fake? Louise nodded. Probably. But how do we prove it? Should we take her for a checkup? That can't be. I saw her coughing up blood myself. Easy to fake. They do it on TV all the time. Now completely awake, I agreed. You're right. Louise straightened up. Leave it to me. Last time I spotted the city hospital logo on her diagnosis papers at your place. I'll check it out. I snuggled into his neck. Thanks, hubby. You're the best. Louise turned into a big proud puppy. Of course. That afternoon, as the studio buzzed with activity, Assistant Mike rushed in. Wendy, you've got to see this. Someone posted our design drafts online. What? Everyone except me gasped simultaneously. They scrambled to their computers, and the post already had 30,000 likes and over 500,000 views. How did this happen? Wendy, what do we do? How can we compete now? The few newbies in the office, all recent grads who were part of the project, looked at me in distress. Calm down, everyone. The leaked drafts are just the initial ones. They're quite different from our final versions, I assured them. Hearing that, everyone sighed in relief. Right. I was too panicked to notice, I continued. This won't affect our competition entry, but we need to find the leak. Mike, call the police. When the police and I showed up at Anne's, my mom answered the door. She looked baffled. At the police? What's going on? I nudged past her and pointed at Anne, who was casually scrolling through her phone on the couch. She stole my designs and posted them online. The older officer stepped forward. Anne, come with us. And suddenly alert, asked, What are you talking about? There's got to be a mistake. Wendy reported you for copyright infringement. Please cooperate with our investigation. Panicked and barefoot on the floor, she exclaimed. You believe her just like that? Do you have evidence to arrest me? My mom rushed over to Anne's defense. You need proof for such things. I know my daughter. She's no thief. Not a thief, I smiled politely, showing them the surveillance footage that clearly captured Anne's actions. Mom, what's this? I asked. My mom watched the short video on repeat, her hands shaking as she looked incredulously at Anne. Did you really steal your sister's designs and post them? And looked lost as she stammered. Let me explain, Mom, please. I gazed at her coldly, arms crossed. Save it for the station, I said as she was being escorted out. she thrashed, trying to get at me before the police held her back. Wendy, you did this on purpose. Who would have thought you'd be so generous? She yelled. She cursed me the whole way, her previous pretense of being gentle shattering into pieces. The neighbors who came out to see the commotion surely spread stories of Anne's downfall in their circle. Soon after the police car left, my mom stood alone in the doorway, contemplating her daughter's wild behavior. And how did this happen? She wondered. Only now was her true nature, hidden under a facade fully unveiled. Louis hired the best lawyer in the country to file a lawsuit for me, and he succeeded in getting Anne sent to jail. She was charged with copyright infringement and inciting bullying at school, among other things. My mom and Vincent came to beg me to drop the charges and spare Anne. As for my dad, he's a businessman, and with all the drama, he gave up on Anne a long time ago. There was no pleading from him. When he heard about the situation, he even went to the prison and slapped Anne, saying she disgraced the family. When my mom started crying, making a scene and threatening to hang herself, I simply projected the surveillance footage onto the living room TV, playing it in a loop to remind them of what Anne did. To my surprise, my mom just ignored it and demanded, "Your sister has cancer and doesn't have long to live. Are you going to make her spend her remaining days in prison?" Vincent chimed in, saying, "And is like your parents' own child. You're cutting their hearts out." I was overwhelmed by how ridiculous it all was. I asked, "What about me? Am I not mom's own child too?" They were speechless. After a while, my mom stammered, "That's why we should all understand each other." She couldn't keep it up. Even she felt guilty. My heart turned cold. Without emotion, I said, "You don't need to say anything more. She should face the consequences of her actions. Mom, thank you for raising me, but I'll wire you some money, and let's not meet again unless it's necessary." Before today, I might have held a sliver of hope that once they knew the truth, they'd see past their bias, maybe say a word on my behalf. But in that moment, all those unrealistic thoughts vanished. My mom was stunned. When she came to, she was so angry her chest heaved. "Wendy, you're ungrateful," she yelled. I remained expressionless, unaffected. If they didn't leave, I'd call security. Realizing they wouldn't get anywhere with me, they reluctantly left the large villa, and I finally returned to peace. That night before bed, Louis held me close. "Susan said your mom and brother came by again. Everything okay? They didn't give you trouble, right?" he asked. I pursed my lips, just asking for Anne, so I chased them off. Louis thought for a while. "I'll let the guards know not to let them in next time." That night Anne got drunk. "You didn't tell me she'd intentionally been let in by us," I said. I couldn't even sleep, afraid she'd do something crazy. I couldn't help but laugh, wrapping my arms around his neck. "I was just worried you'd get caught," I teased. Louis ruffled my hair. "I was wrong about you. You're no innocent little bunny with those sharp claws," he commented. I gave a candid smile. "This is the real me." "Louis, how do you feel now? Regret marrying me at all?" I asked. Louis thought for a moment. "Regret? How about liking you even more?" Over the years, to protect myself, I've done similar things more than once. When I faced bullying at school, I didn't cry or cause a scene. I recorded and gathered evidence, leading to the expulsion of the worst offenders. When I discovered the malicious change to my college application information, an hour before the deadline, I corrected it immediately and saved the evidence. Objectively, Anne's tactics never really harmed me, but as Louis said, I've never been someone you can easily push around. A rabbit? Perhaps not, but more like a wolf lying in wait, ready to strike. We anticipated she would use her cancer as an excuse to seek medical treatment outside of prison. Before her sentence began, Louis reached out to doctors at the city hospital, and they confirmed her diagnosis was fake. They ran a full body check on her, intending to reveal her lies. The results were shocking. She did have stomach cancer, but it was early stage. Consumed with plotting against me all these years, she neglected her health, even picking up unhealthy habits like heavy drinking and burning the midnight oil. Getting sick was inevitable. In the hospital room, she lay there, pale and dazed. "Reaping what you've sown," I said calmly. "Did you ever think that faking a diagnosis, pretending to cough up blood, might one day come true?" She moved her lips, managing a few words. "I lost." I smiled, mocking her. "You did this to yourself, but why?" It should be you suffering, you Wendy. Suddenly, she screamed like a raging lion. Staying in the countryside wasn't good enough for you? Why did you come back? You stole Mom and Dad's love, took my first place grades. You should be the one to disappear. I gazed at the crazed woman, feeling nothing. Grandma passed away, forcing me back to that house. But I never meant to compete with you, just like middle school when Mom tried making it up to me with clothes and shoes, but I wore only the red jacket Grandma made for me. Expensive homes weren't ever what I cared about. She froze for 2 minutes like she was processing something. Then she broke down, yanking her hair as if unable to accept it. I don't believe you. Do you know what I hate about you the most? Your fake modesty, she said. Honestly, I didn't like Louis at all. Just because you did, I wanted to take him from you. I stood up, looking down at her. You're sick in the head, I scoffed, uninterested in her nonsense. Just as I stepped out, I screamed. You don't know, do you? On the graduation trip, I left you there on purpose. I knew the place was dangerous. I wanted you gone for good. I strode back and slapped her. Across the face hard, I found Anne's doctor later, who adjusted his glasses and told me, besides her physical ailments, her mental state isn't great. No surprise there. Seeing her hysterical, I had already suspected this. I told the doctor, please do your best to treat her. Spare no expense, but ensure she is stable enough to serve time. And if she is mentally unstable, keep her monitored so she won't escape. The doctor understood. Rest assured, Miss Wendy. Leaving the hospital, I drove to the biggest mall downtown. I didn't buy anything, just wandered aimlessly. I thought of many things, from my late grandma to the scrappy years I'd been through. Being punished brought relief more than joy. I wouldn't have to watch my back around her anymore. Lost in thought, a sweet voice suddenly played over the store speakers. Wendy, your dad has bought your favorite pudding and is waiting at the entrance. Hurry over. First, I was confused. Then when it hit me who was playing a prank, my face got hot in a flash. Louis, aren't you too old for pranks like this? It's so embarrassing. I stormed towards the door. But the moment I saw that familiar figure, I couldn't help but feel a lump in my throat. He waved at me, his eyes full of warmth. I knew you'd be here. I rushed into his arms, my voice choked up. Are you working today? Louis took my hand and led me out. Work isn't as important as my wife. Let's go celebrate. Celebrate what? I asked. He winked at me. Getting rid of Anne and all her drama. Isn't that worth celebrating? I made sure the police department was ready. Once Anne was healed, they'd take her in for sure. She'd regret everything she did. I started laughing through my tears and held his hand tighter. Thank you, Louis. I looked him in the eyes seriously. Meeting you was the luckiest thing in my tough life. Silly girl, Louis meant to comfort me. But what I said brought tears to his eyes. Everything you have isn't luck. It's because you deserve it. 2 months later, our wedding happened right on schedule. In the brisk autumn season, we took our vows in a grand church and exchanged rings. My mom was busy looking after Anne in the hospital and didn't care at all about this, but I didn't invite her anyway. We invited a bunch of friends and classmates to witness our happiness. Vincent sent me a text. Congrats on the wedding. And I didn't reply. My dad actually came. He apologized, rubbing his hands together. I know you've been through a lot of pain. It's my fault for being superstitious. I knew he got some shares and wanted to climb up by being connected to Louis. He wasn't really sorry. Maybe I was fully disappointed in this family because I could reply with a straight face. It's all in the past. If in the future he wants any business deals with Louis, he'd have to see Louis's mood. Louis cares about my mood. Louis's parents flew in from abroad to attend our wedding. They both gave me a big present. I was pleasantly surprised. Is this what real high society life is like? I wondered aloud. Louis shot me a look. Oh, ambition, you've already snagged the one in charge. You won't run out of money the day after the wedding. I took Louis back to the village where I used to live. We went to see Grandma, this woman who raised me for over 10 years, taught me kindness and also how to protect myself. Looking at the kind black and white photo on the tombstone, I was so choked up I couldn't speak. Louis held my hand tightly, his expression serious. Grandma Wendy is doing really well now. I promise I'll take even better care of her, don't worry. A gentle breeze swept through my hair and the distant trees rustled softly.